I hope you all enjoyed your dinner. At this time, please welcome Mr. Kevin Teasley, founder and CEO of Geo Academy.
Hey, it's me again. Again, I want to thank the caterers for the great dinner. I also want to thank a couple of people who really worked hard on this. Tanya McKenzie over here. Rita Miller, way back in the back. These two are really responsible for, I think, what we're seeing here. So thank you, Rita. And the planning committee is on the back of the program. And a lot of the planning committee are also our board members, but we also have Sherlon Norman. I knew her as Sherlon Clay. Now she's Sherlon Norman. Mona Collins, and then we're going to have our speakers, so I won't introduce them. But Aaron Piper, Aaron's way back there on the planning committee. And that's it. So we already introduced the board. So 10 years ago, we get a call from then State Superintendent Dr. John White, State Superintendent of schools here in Louisiana. Actually, Dana, my wife, not my sister. Well, we have the same last name. Some people might think we're brother and sister. We're not. Anyway, Dana actually got the email from John White saying, hey, would you be interested in coming to Louisiana? We just saw this report in Stanford University did a study on charter organizations across the country and found that GEO schools were in the top 25 to 30% when it comes to growth in math and language arts. And so Louisiana was interested in bringing in various charter operators, and we were one of them. Well, Dana got the email first, and she thought it was a joke or something. Someone's, it's a hack of some sort. I took a look at it, and well, we decided to take a look at Louisiana. I didn't know anybody in Louisiana, and so why would we go to Louisiana? But with the state superintendent inviting us, you have to take that seriously. So John White and I got on the phone and said, look, we've got public money, we've got private money, we've got state money, federal money. Chris Meyer in the back, standing up there with the white shirt on, you can see him wave. Chris was at that time New Schools Baton Rouge president, and now to his right and our left is the new president, Ken Campbell, who has been a longtime friend, probably over 20 years when he was Black Alliance for Educational Options local chapter president from Louisiana. Anyway, Chris represented New Schools Baton Rouge. So that was the private money, and then the state had buildings for schools that they were taking over. We would be able to use one of them. And then there was federal startup money. So it was pretty enticing to come to Louisiana because we at GEO, we have other schools in Indiana and at the time Colorado. But the dollars per student were not as good as they are here in Louisiana. And we were doing a good job in Indiana, and still are, and in Colorado, but boy, if we had just a couple $100 more or $1,000 more per kid, that makes a big difference. In Louisiana, roughly $11,000, roughly, at this time, per child. So we took a look at it and said, we could probably do our model best in Louisiana. But if we're going to do our model, we need to get to know some people. And part of our model is the TAP system. It used to stand for Teacher Advancement Program. Now it's Teacher and Student Advancement Program. It's a very intensive education model that has students or teachers looking at data on a weekly basis, where they look at what, I'm going to be very simplistic about it, but this is why I like it. Teachers look at what they taught And then they also look at what the students learned. 2 different words, taught and learned. Doesn't mean that they learned it just because you taught it. And if the students didn't learn it, then the teachers get together every week and they look at what and how they taught it and reteach the next week those who did not learn it so that they could learn it. And that's why this school and the others that are associated with GEO here in Louisiana and Baton Rouge are all top gains schools in Louisiana. That means they're in the top 30% in growth in math and language arts in the state of Louisiana, these schools. How did that happen? Well, since TAP is at the center of our model, at the time, John White had at the State Department of Education an office for TAP. Sheila Talamo was directing that office, and I reached out to her. I said, look, TAP is at the center of our model. Who's your best principal in the state of Louisiana implementing the TAP system? Without hesitation, she said, Sandra Douglas. Sandra became our first principal at our first property, which is right up the road off of Platte. Sandra was not looking for a job. She's got over 25 to 30 years of experience in East Baton Rouge Parish. She's been a principal, she's been a teacher, she's been an administrator at the district level. And I called her up out of the blue. She did not know me, and we agreed to have dinner. And I'll never forget that dinner. She walked in, and we've never met before, but I knew immediately how serious she was about education, because if you've ever interviewed people, some people can just kind of wing it at an interview. Sandra came in with a binder full of data, student data, and all of the achievements that she has achieved in her professional career in the various places that she was. I knew immediately we had a very serious person in front of us who understood the need for reviewing data and understanding how to use data to impact education. So, I put on my recruiting hat pretty hard, and thankfully, Sandra liked what our model was. It's not just TAP, it's curriculum and other things. But she liked what we offered, but she wanted to finish up one more year at East Baton Rouge Parish. So we knew, well, we had a gut feeling that we had the right person to join us. She's well worth waiting for. You've waited long enough for me to introduce her. Please welcome Sandra Douglas.
Good evening, everybody. I am not the person who wants to be out front. I'm just the one that wants to be in the back, doing what I do best. And they would probably say telling folks what to do. But all in the sake of like the kids. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. I did write something so I could just kind of stay on the task with my what I was asked to do. So the first thing I want you to know about me is that this is not just a job. I've always said, and people that work with me, that education is a ministry. I believe this is what I was called to do, to work with kids, to serve families, and just make sure kids learn. My motto has always been, I believe that all children can, and not just can, will learn under my watch. And I just believe learn at different rates, you know, in different ways, they can learn and they can achieve. I grew up not far from here, off Gus Young Avenue. And so there were teachers who just made me feel like I was special. My mother never had a car. We caught the bus everywhere or caught a ride. I mean, so that instilled in me you can make it. If you have the right motivation and someone in front of you as a teacher doing what they're supposed to be doing every day, looking at what you have learned, going back, if you didn't learn it, it's not okay. You go back, you reteach, and you try it again. So, you know, that's a little bit about me, but as far as Geo goes, I just thank Kevin for trusting me, and Dana, all the conversations we have. I thank them for entrusting me to lead Geo Prep as first founding principal, and now as the chief academic officer. I believe, like I said, that all children can and will learn under my watch. Although there's more work to be done, I'm proud of what we have accomplished thus far. And if you notice, I said we. I didn't say I, because it's not an I. There's no I in team. It takes a village of like-minded people to get the job done. And so I have a village around me that is helping us to make the growth and the progress that we see. It's not just me. I want to make that clear. It's a whole group. So I'm going to introduce some of those folks to you right now. I have a regional team that work tirelessly with curriculum, you know, in classrooms. We're not sitting in an office somewhere. They're in the schools. They are team teaching with teachers. They are talking to principals and doing walkthroughs with them, helping to coach them as well. So my regional team over there, I see Miss Theory, Miss Norman, Miss Tate, I'm trying to remember these married names. Okay, Miss Whitehouse is there, and